Hello and welcome to the Traveling Knitter channel. My name is Steph and I am in Columbus, Ohio, the United States, and it's December. So welcome back. I'd wanted to get another episode out in November, but I ended up leaving to go to my parents just a bit earlier, so I hadn't planned on leaving. Let me go check that, even though it's my lunch break. I hadn't originally planned on spending Saturday driving, but I did. Originally that was going to be podcasting day, so clearly it wasn't. Hopefully the dinging is not annoying you. It's lunch, but work from home life. So anyway, so unfortunately I didn't get this out. So here we are. And enough faffing. Let's just talk about knitting. So I have quite a lot to show you, and I even have a finished object that I don't have with me anymore, but I'm going to post a picture on the screen, either in front of me or over here. And these were a shop sample. So they were gloves, and all of that just completely left my head and I don't remember. So I'll put information about the pattern. The yarn is Barocco Luca, or is that just a Disney movie? It is a really luxurious yarn. So it's cotton and cashmere. And yeah, so it's really, really soft. And the gloves turned out nice. And there's the picture. Not really sure what else I can say. They were and are, it's not like they're gone. They're a shop sample for one of the local yarn stores in my area, which is 614 Knit Studios. And yeah, finished objects. I have another finished object that I'm going to talk about a little bit more, because this was a bit more of a pain in the ass. Let's just be blunt. This is the Gruggle by Kate Davies Designs. And here it is. It's a cowl that you start here, and it is bigger on this end than this end. You do switch needles. This is not blocked, so I am going to block it because it's, pretty tight. This was such a nuisance. Before I talk about the annoying things, let's just look at it. The pattern is gorgeous. The texture definition, fantastic, right? This is beautiful. The yarn that I used is West Yorkshire Spinners fleeced Blueface Luster in DK, and the colorway is Berry. And it's beautiful, right? Let's talk about what's not beautiful. I basically knit this whole thing twice because of the yarn. So I don't think her pattern was test knit. There were no problems with the pattern. It was just the yardage. So the yarn that I have was DK for 246 yards, which I think is 5 yards more than what the pattern calls for. I couldn't get this in one skein for the life of me, and I had that feeling when I first looked at the pattern. I was like, how in the world am I gonna make a cowl that looks like this with one skein of DK yarn? I already was like, that seems weird. And yeah, so I ended up dropping down. What does the pattern say? The pattern wants you to use 3.75 millimeter needles as the starting point for your swatching. You're going to use 2 needle sizes, one that's based on your gauge, and the gauge is 24 stitches and 32 rounds for 4x4. That's not abnormal. And then you're going to use a needle size larger. One, don't like those vague instructions, but whatever. I was doing math the whole time I was knitting this because I couldn't, the goal is to make this with 100 gram skein, and I just couldn't. So in the end, I dropped down to I think a 2.5. My gauge is smaller, much smaller than what it asks for. But even if I'd consistently stayed with that needle size and gauge, I still would not have been able to make this with one skein. So that's honestly really annoying. I looked at all of the samples on Ravelry, and most of the people did not say how much of the yarn that they used. And really, there wasn't a lot that were using like DK yarn or even yarn that was close to what the pattern called for. So I'm gonna be putting all my notes on Ravelry because that was really frustrating. And then I went and found her hat pattern, and her hat pattern uses a 1 skein. There are a lot more patterns, examples of that, and people were using like almost all of their yarn. This uses way more yarn than a hat does. How can it? So yeah, that's my big complaint about this pattern, is that I think it's wrong. Like, I think, and if it's not wrong, I do not understand how they were able to make that. Cause like I said, my gauge is under, so I should have had extra yarn, but I didn't. So this ended up being 110 grams because I was not gonna knit this a 3rd time. So I just need to block this heavily. Like, I need to heavily block this thing, especially down here, because this is supposed to, again, like, it's supposed to sit like this on your shoulder. This sure doesn't do that right now. So, tale of woe on this cowl, but otherwise it's really, really pretty. And I would knit this again. Like, I think this makes a great set. A slight pet peeve, the name of the hat is not Gruggle hat. It's like a completely different name, even though it uses the same stitch pattern. So if you wanted to do like a set, the hat is a different name, different pattern. I don't think you get a discount if you buy both of them, which that's fine. I mean, it's nice to get a discount if you're using the same pattern, because to be honest, you could figure, like, if you have this pattern, you could figure out how to do the hat. Like, you could. If you know basic hat construction, you could do that. But you shouldn't, but just saying. So that is the Gruggle cowl. That's my 2nd finished object. I have fluff on my mouth. I would use this yarn again. Like I said, I'd use the yarn again. I'd make the pattern again. Especially now that I know I'm just gonna need more yarn. So that's that. So basically what I'm trying to say is I like the end result. I like the pattern. I like what I've made. I'm just annoyed that the pattern is telling me that I can make this in 1 skein when I just could not do it. So don't let that deter you. Just maybe think 2 skeins. Okay, so what else have I been working on? Yes. Ooh. In this really cute bag that has my name on it, I have some current socks that I'm working on. Here is one. I'm pretty sure I didn't have this finished on my last episode. And if I did, I'm just gonna show it again. So this is a sock for my dad using a skein of yarn that I don't have the ball band for. Oh well, no big deal. It's one of the yarns that my mom grabbed for me when she was in Germany 2 years ago, 3 years ago, can't remember. And it does this micro striping. It is like a rustic, commercial feeling sock yarn. And I am on the foot. I turned the heel, I did the leg. What's kind of interesting about the foot is how different it came out. So I have these really big stripes, which I don't really get on the other foot because the big stripes are blending. So very interesting how that happened. I'm knitting these on size 1s, I think. Is it 1 or size 2? It's a US size 1, 2.25, 64 stitches. Normally I try to put stitch markers, but I didn't have any when I was working on these. So I just eyeballed them to be the same as this. I'll end up with maybe 20 grams left of this, so then I can use this for heel toes cuffs for something different. So that'll be nice. These will be the second pair of socks for my dad for Christmas, and I don't see having any issues finishing this before Christmas. While visiting my parents, I worked predominantly on the sweater that is in this bag. This is a test knit. The pattern's already out, and I was editing the pattern, the English version of the pattern. So the sweater is called the Vaki sweater, and oh, she doesn't have her design name on the pattern that she sent. I'll have it on the screen for the pattern maker. And it is a colorwork sweater knit bottom up. And I think there's lace on the sleeves, if I remember correctly. And I made a lot of progress on this. So the last time you saw, I had finished the ribbing and was just starting the color work. And here I am. And I have maybe 20 more rounds to go of the color work. Like, it looks gorgeous. Does this not? It looks so pretty. I'm in love. I'm in love with this. I think the colors look beautiful. The yarn looks beautiful. It's been very fun to knit. And I can't wait to wear this. Like, I think this is gonna be such a gorgeous winter sweater. So there's my progress keeper. I'll move that up. The yarn that I'm using, I bought at a Dayton Fiber Festival that happens at Young's Dairy, and it was Passion Yarns, who I'd never heard of before, but it was very economical. It was buy 3 skeins, get 1 free, and I think each skein was already only like $25. So I grabbed Espresso is the purple color, and then Sand Dune is the off-white. And I'm gonna have leftovers, and I think this will make really nice socks. Like, I'll just use these as socks, like the colors, like a colorwork sock. It is a 75-25, so won't have any problems with that. I'm just gonna hold this up a little bit more. It's so pretty, right? Very, very pretty. The bag is by Wuthering Sheep, if you're curious. They're awesome. I love them. There are multiple versions with different roly-poly birds on them if you wanted one for yourself. I put a little bit of work in the cardigan that is sitting in this bag. So just like maybe a round or two. I don't have a progress keeper on that. So there's my progress keeper and a stitch marker that I'm gonna switch out. These came in one of my Yarnaceous sock clubs. Who does the stitch markers? They're fantastic. It's by Monster Stitches. I'm really liking the stitch markers. So you got a stitch marker and a progress keeper every month that has some information about like why it's chosen, but love it. So this pattern is Sebile by Yarn Flakes or Audrey Borrego. It is a cardigan, and it's slow going, but not in a bad way. It's just something that I pick up every now and then. I don't put in a ton of time in one sitting on this because this is just a cardigan for myself. One that I could wear all year round, really. The yarn is Hey Sister Yarn Co., who no longer dies, as everyone says when you talk about their yarn. It is in the sepia colorway and on their fantastic base, which I'm pretty sure was their merino cashmere nylon. I love their podcast. I love their yarn. I love their patterns. So yeah, I wish they were still had a stronger presence, but they homeschool their kids and there are a lot of kids. So I think between the two of them, there are 9. So there's quite a lot of kids involved. Here's what the skein looks like. Oop. Little bit of notebook trash there. So soft. This bag does not have a maker tag on it, so unfortunately I can't tell you who made it, but I love it. It's one of my favorites. And then two more things that I've been working on. I did just cast on a hat for myself because I'm feeling the urge to cast things on. I just want to cast a whole bunch of things on, and this I knew was going to be quick, easy gratification, and it was going to be for me, not a Christmas gift. So this is the Halas hat by Jared Flood. So there's a picture. And it's knit out of Corey, which I have right here. I bought this 2 years ago from Stitch Together Studio when they were going out of business. So all their yarn was on sale, but I grabbed a lot of Brooklyn Tweed. And yeah, so I made one for my mom last year. This will be mine. I do have a bit left over of the one that I made for her in a stone color. It's like a off-white gray that I'm gonna do as the pom-pom for this. This is black. You're not really gonna see anything, but essentially what you do is you have these I have these stitch markers that hold 3 stitches. And once I'm finished with the hat, gosh, this is gonna be a little bit difficult there. So once I'm finished with the hat, I'm going to drop these stitches down and then pick them back up in a specific pattern here. Yeah, it's black. You're not really gonna see this, but it's super bulky. It's really quick to make, and the end result is gorgeous. So if you're looking for a really quick to make hat, you have Corey, or you have super bulky yarn, I'd buy this Halas pattern. It's fantastic. So originally, well, they were selling it for $9, but I ended up getting it for $1 because every pattern was $1. And I love it. It's great. Clearly, I'm making it a second time, and I will probably make more of these. These are really nice. It is charted. So there is a chart. And here's the schematics. So it is like a cap hat. It's not slouchy. And that's that. The last project that I've been putting quite a bit of effort in is a blanket. No one in my life is pregnant that I would be giving a blanket to, but I'm working on it anyway because it's really relaxing, and it is this one. So in this bag, I actually have 2 blankets that I've been working on. And I don't know about the other one. I'm kind of thinking of ripping it all out again because it's very stiff. Like, it's a very stiff blanket. So even though I've put in so much work, I've, woven in the ends, I'm kind of thinking that I'm just gonna redo this. What do you think? Like, do you think this is too stiff? Can you even tell? Like, I can scrunch it up, right? I can scrunch it, but I don't know. I just don't know. Anyway, so the blanket that I am working on is this guy, and you can see this is much more blankety. It's also airier because it is like granny striped. So originally I started with the yarn at the bottom, which is Chameleon by Loops and Thread. There's 439 yards. It is, I'm pretty sure 100% acrylic. No, 62% acrylic, 38% polyester, and the colorway is the gooseberry colorway. This yarn is gorgeous. This makes for a beautiful blanket. It's discontinued, so you can't buy it anymore. And I only had 2, and I made this blanket wider than the like orangey pink one that I made. So I needed more yarn. So I went with this gray, which I believe is a Red Heart not super soft, but a Red Heart, I don't know, some sort of Red Heart yarn that's softer. And then the white is an I Love This yarn. And so what I ended up doing was I used up an entire skein of the gooseberry chameleon, and then I started in with the gray, but I wanted this to kind of like not look like I'm running out of yarn. So I decided to go with a white in the middle and would have gray on either side. And so I weighed what each row was going to be, which was essentially 10 grams. So it's 10 grams per row, and I had 100 grams. So I did 5, and then now I've got back to the gray. So I'll do 4 more and then start on this guy. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do a border around it or just leave it as is. And if I do a border, I'm thinking I would do like a blue color to tie this in, but I really don't want to buy yarn. Like, I'm just kind of stash busting with this. Stash busting for gifts. So I'm not sure. I think it'd be cool to have like tassels on the end, but technically, like, this is like a baby blanket or, a kid's blanket or something. Tassels might be annoying or a hazard. I don't know. So been working on this blanket, It is so fast going and just so pretty. And those are all of the projects that I've been working on. Vlogmas is starting, and I'll probably do like a bit where I run through some of the yarn that I have and like things I want to cast on. So I won't go too heavy into that right now. But since I have it, I thought I would just real quick talk about one of the yarns that has come into my life, which is the Yarnaceous Fibers Jurassic Park Yarn Club. This is the November set, and it's called Very Bad Idea, and it came with the stitch markers that I was putting on the cardigan, Sevillon cardigan. It's so pretty. I'm loving this fiber club. So if you're interested, you are charged monthly, so you don't pay for 3 months. So you get in monthly, and you get a 100 gram mini, 100 gram, and then a mini, which is 20 grams. Then you get a progress keeper and a stitch marker, and then you get something else. So for example, this November one came with tea that was dinosaur themed. We've gotten a print of, I think, Isla Sorna. So it's just, little things that kind of tie into the movies or just dinosaurs in general. I love Jurassic Park, and I've seen it so many times. Now that I'm talking about it, I kind of want to watch them. I've been really into wanting to just hunker down and watch TV. So yeah, maybe I'll do that. But anyway, in case you're like, what? I want to get a yarn club, but I'm not really sure what yarn club to get. Here's one. Here's one to try. I've loved it. It's a lot of fun. Love dinosaurs. Yeah. So with that, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you are having a lovely start to December. Hope your November was wonderful, calm, relaxing, crazy, whatever you want it to be. And I will see you in Vlogmas. Hopefully you enjoyed Vlogtober and will enjoy Vlogmas as well. If not, obviously you can skip it. You don't need to watch those. And my TBR as well as wrap up, those will be coming soon. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, obviously leave them down below or reach out to me on any of the social medias that would have been at the beginning of the episode. That's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye.